Welcome to the Fabulous 50s and beyond. Today we're going to be talking about this year's Purchase Area Mental Health and Aging Coalition Conference. They have this conference every year. It's a very important conference. We're going to be telling you about who should attend, what the benefits of our attending, who some of the speakers are, some of the conferences, and everything like that. Our guest today is Joni Hogancamp. Joni has been kind of heading up this conference, or I guess for the last couple of years or 3 years. We're going to be talking about everything that's going on there, and we want you to stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
And he'd say, go with what you got. Start from where you are. Give it your best shot. Keep reaching for that star. Get in the race. Keep your own pace. Keep moving and never stop. Just go. Go with what you got.
We're glad that you're here today, and we're going to have an exciting conference to talk about, one that I hope some of you will be able to attend and participate in. Our guest today is Joni Hogancamp. Joni, we're happy to have you with us again today. As we talk about this conference, I'm intrigued by the title of the conference, or the name of the conference this year, called The Ball's in Your Court.
Well, we looked at that, and we try to come up with a theme every year which encompasses what we're speaking about and the topics that we have speakers on. And also we have Winston Bennett, who is our closing speaker. So with his history in basketball and being the coach at Mid-Continent, we kind of felt like that was appropriate title.
Well, I mean, it's not difficult to talk about basketball in Kentucky, is it?
No, it's not. Not at all.
Well, this conference is one that it's been going on annually now. You haven't had it how many years?
This is the 8th year.
This is the 8th year. Mm-hmm. Golly, I bet I've been to most of them then. I remember when we used to have them at the Methodist Church out on...
we have had them at Lone Oak Methodist a few years.
Right.
And then Lone Oak Baptist. And we've had it here at the Gospel Mission. This will be the 2nd year. And we really like the location. We feel like it's real accessible to people, and there's a lot of room, and then the different separate rooms for our speakers and all, so we like that.
And it's convenient for the interstate. Mm-hmm. By the way, it is at Gospel Mission Worship Center, and the date is May the 19th.
May the 19th.
And
we chose a Wednesday this year, but we do plan on getting out, so if anyone needs to go to church Wednesday night, shouldn't be a problem.
Now, I guess we can give them a tag as to where the Gospel Mission Church is. It's right across the street from Trader's Mall.
Yes, it is.
And right off the interstate.
Off it's at exit 16, the Reedland exit.
The Reedland exit, right. I never know numbers of interstate exits. My wife gets aggravated at me, but I'll say, "What's that number of that exit up there?" Because we'll be telling somebody how to get to our house, you know. And but she always gets there. Now, this again is being put on by the Purchase Area Mental Health and Aging Coalition, right?
Yes, it is.
Now, is that under the auspices of PAD also?
That is through the PAD, the Purchase Area Development District in Mayfield. That's just one of the arms of it.
And Vicki Williams is the one that's in charge of senior work, right? Mm-hmm. And so if they need any more information, they can call the PAD office.
Yes, and you have that phone number up.
It's 247-7171, if I remember correctly. Now, Vicki has a direct line number there, but we've got that number up. All right, let's talk about who should attend this conference.
Well, we like to target healthcare professionals, nurses, social workers, and also caregivers, people that are giving care to others, or even the seniors themselves, just to come and get some information.
I think sometimes people don't realize that they are a caregiver in the strictest term of the word. They are not professional because they're not being paid for it. I used to laugh, and still do, when I tell the story sometimes about somebody will say, "Well, how long have you been Santa Claus?" I said, "Well, over 50 years, but I've only been a professional for the last 12. And I said, the only difference in being a professional and a non-professional is you get paid for it if you're a professional. And I think caregivers miss out on understanding how important they are.
They are greatly underappreciated.
Yes.
They do a vital role.
And I think things like this conference will help them see not only how important they are, but the importance of some of the aspects of them looking at themselves as a caregiver. I know we've discussed this before, that the statistics show that in many cases, in fact, almost a majority of cases, that the caregiver goes down before the person that they're caring for because of the strain.
When you're living it every day, sometimes you don't recognize the stress, but to be a caregiver 24/7 is tremendous. You're on call all the time for any type of incident, or so it is very difficult. So it is important to educate people about what programs, especially the respite through the PAD, that are available.
Because they need a break. They either get a break or they break. Now, I've never heard that term. Maybe that's one we ought to use.
That's a good one.
but it's true, and so they need a respite or break from what they're doing, and it's real important. So not only that, but I've noticed that in the brochure it talks about law enforcement and emergency management people need. It's good for them to attend also.
Well, it is something that we are trying to let people know about, what is available for emergency preparedness and what you need to do in case of an emergency, who you need to call, and what you need to have ready.
Well, I think that last year was a good precursor
It was a
to
wake-up
that,
call.
a wake-up call, and I'm going to tell you, it was really something, that ice storm and what had happened, because I know there were people that were stranded. Being stranded is one thing, but not having food. But then if you have it, not being able to prepare it.
The isolation.
Right. We had lived in South Florida for 23 years, and so we had been through a major hurricane, Hurricane Andrew, and we learned through that. But we had, through hurricane warnings and everything like that, we were prepared. I mean, we always had a cupboard with water and canned foods, and it was just natural. But up here, nobody ever thought about that.
Well, it did take us by surprise, that's for sure.
And I hope they're doing it now. I mean, because anything can happen. Storms. I mean, look at those hurricanes that we just. I mean, there's not hurricanes, but tornadoes we just had down through Louisiana, and the destruction. So, and that is, I noticed that is one of the topics.
And then we're having a doctor from UK come and talk about Alzheimer's. That's really important to educate people about, because often they'll think their loved one is acting out, that they're purposefully acting a certain way, and really it's the disease. So they need to be educated about how they can deal with that.
That's the one thing that you have mixed emotions about when you see a caregiver getting upset with someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's. Mother doesn't know that that's not the way it was. She's doing it as her mind remembers currently. And people, I think education is so vital in these things, and they get education like this through attending conferences like this. I mean, somebody could just make one statement and a light bulb come on, to make them aware of some of the situations. And it's so important. I guess as I have gotten older, I have more feeling for older people and the things that are going on. And I'm going to tell you, I told you that, I'm talking about Alzheimer's, and I guess as you get older, you just forget more. But I don't wear a tie that much anymore, and I used to wear a tie 7 days a week, flip it tight, double winter, everything. I put on a tie about 3 weeks ago. I went in a tie and forgot how to tie it. You talk about frustrated. I'm standing in front of a mirror trying to figure out, what do I do next, And then all of a sudden I said, now come on, I tied it, Well, that was frustrating. But, things like that, and I've heard of senior moments like that, and I had one. But again, this conference will kind of lead people through thinking things like that through.
Lots of different aspects. Another good presenter we're having is Joe Frinsley. He is with Heart USA, and if people are having difficulty getting their meds, affording them, that is a program that, depending on the medication, they can get medication for you. It could be free or discounted. And in today's age, that's really very important.
So this is the organization. He's the man or the organization that they would go through, because sometimes we hear on a commercial, if you can't afford this, contact.
That is one of them.
And he is one of them. That's good to know. I mean, that would be worth the conference just to come to find out
Really
about
is.
not getting meds.
And then something we're doing a little bit different this year is we're having a panel right after lunch. So, and it is on the neglect and abuse of elderly people. So it have a lot of good pointers on that. We have 3 or 4 professionals that will talk about different aspects and different things to look at for that.
I think as we were talking earlier before we started the show, one of the major aspects of abuse is neglect. You know, it's sad. I talked to, I lost a dear friend 3 weeks ago, same age as I am, so we went to school together, been friends for over 50 years, and she had a stroke and she died within just a few days, which was, knowing her as vivacious as she was and everything, she would not have wanted to live the way that she was. And so, but this other friend of mine was talking about a dear friend of hers that fell in her house on Saturday morning and died, and nobody found her until Sunday afternoon. And this was an active person, you know, too. And it's like somebody should have said, well, where is she? No, she wasn't at church this morning. She wasn't at Sunday school this morning. Something's got to be wrong. Nobody knew anything. But the neglect is not knowing, I guess. And again, that's an education process. A lot of this is education, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And we just want to get out and offer these programs so people can learn about things that are available and what they can do to help protect themselves.
Okay, Joni, we're going to take a break, and then we want to get back into some of the other people that are going to be on the program, some of the aspects of the program for the people who will be participating. So you stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
And he'd say, go with what you got. Start from where you are. Give it your best shot. Keep reaching for that star. Get in the race. Keep your own pace, keep moving and never stop. Just go, go with what you got.
We didn't have much to give then. So when they showed up firing them mean looks around the place and staring us down on prices, well, I was angry. Didn't seem to bother my father, though. He had me load another bushel of apples in their trunk. I learned later on that this family was in need.
The greatest gift we give, it's in our heart, what we believe, the way we live.
Caring for others. Pass it on.
Welcome back. Our guest today is Joni Hogancamp. Joni, I can't pronounce your first name right today for some reason, but we're talking about the mental health conference that's going to be going on here, and the date of that conference is May the 19th.
May the 19th.
Gospel Mission Church there on Benton Road, right there at the intersection 131 and Benton Road, right across from Traders Mall, if you need a place to peg it.
They should pay you for that plug.
Yeah, they probably should. But anyway, we hope that you can make this. This conference is pretty well open for seniors, workers, and everything, as we talked about. It's an informative type conference, and we hope that through these conferences you learn more about dealing with mental health problems and senior problems. It's interesting that a lot of the jargon and a lot of the conversation and talk these days, the senior problems have become mental health problems. And I guess they've kind of classified them and lumped them together. So, but they are mental problems, a lot of them, and that's the reason we deal with them in that cycle. Well, let's talk about, we talked about who should come. What are some of the accreditations? I know that some groups can get credits for attending.
CEUs, the nurses and social workers can get the CEUs that they need for their degrees. So it's just an easy way to come and get those. You have to get so many a year. And so we offer those. And the doors open at 8. It's 8 to 4. We hope to be wrapped up by 4. And if you have not registered, you can come and we will take care of it there. And this year, the contact for that is Marilyn Ingram at Medco here in Paducah. She is the chair of the committee. Vicki Williams at the PAD, you can contact if you are a member of the PAMHAC Coalition, because there are some monies for that to help with your fee to get in. The fee for participating is $30. If you're a senior, though, it's $10. So, and if you can't, don't have the money for that, there are money set aside to help with that. If you'll call Vicki Williams, and her number is 877-352-5183. That's to help with the entry fee.
And by the way, talking about entry fee, that does include a real good lunch. It's a catered lunch.
We have breakfast and we have a lunch,
Right.
and then there's a little afternoon snack.
And a lot of the sponsors, you can't do something like this without sponsors.
We have a lot of good sponsors.
And go ahead.
Exhibitors, we have many different exhibitors the day of the show, have lots of different services that would pertain to the seniors that they might need at some point. I know earlier you were talking about the lady that had fallen and no one had checked on her. I think a lifeline, if someone is by themselves, is just crucial. So they will have someone, that
Right.
could come.
Right. And, talking about that as well as the sponsors and all, that's where I get my flash water for the years.
Yeah.
And they have pens
No
and pencils
pads.
and flash waters and different things like that. But there's a lot of good information that's available. And I think, and I'm sure the guy that's doing the conference on meds, he'll have a display. I guess he'll have a booth, a table there also where
Yes.
people can go and talk to him about things like that. Because I know in the past there have been different new treatments and things available that someone's there to talk to them about the different things. So there's a lot of things that'll be there. Some of the different care centers will be there.
And another thing, who as a speaker is about, they're talking about the Medicare changes, or if there are any this year. So I think people will find that informative, not want to miss.
I'm sure that there are, because I got a thing from my supplement company the other day saying that there's a new designation of care in supplemental policies. Said that since we're in it now, it won't change, but there's some kind of new change coming about.
Oh, for the new people.
For the new people in supplemental stuff. By the way, there's going to be someone there from the college also. They're going to be talking about senior education or learning for fun, and that's a great program.
Talking the Donovan Scholar, that's another good program with the college, and just talk about different topics that might be available to seniors.
My wife has talked about going back and getting her master's since we can do it for free now. But there might be some courses that I might like to go back and take, but I don't want to be a full-time student anymore.
Well, it keeps you young.
I know. I did do one thing that at Murray State. I went to their archaeological department and went on a dig with
how
a local
fun.
dig, which was a lot of fun because I've always thought archaeology, it fascinated me. And so there are a lot of different things that are available. And in this age and time in which we live, where there have been early retirements and people bought out and things like that, that's a good program to look at. To now, okay, so now you've got some money. Now you can go back and get some education and do what you really think you want to do, or at least give it a try anyway. So there are a lot of different things like that. And then another thing that's going to be there is going to be talking about volunteerism, different things like that. This one from University of Kentucky, Department of Neurology, talking about promoting normal, healthy brain aging. That's a new field, isn't it?
Well, I think that it's maybe called a different name, but that's basically the dementia and Alzheimer's and the things to look at for that and the progression of that. But something you said earlier about older folks and the mental health, I think that just recently is that now something that people are willing to talk about, but that depression is a very serious problem in older people. There's the isolation, and it's something that we do need to all be aware of, and that's something the PAMHAC is trying to shed more light on, and let people know that it is a very real cause for concern.
Yeah, depression used to be one of those hidden, nobody talks about
That's right.
illnesses, and it is an illness. And once you realize that, then you can learn to do something about it. I mean, I'll admit it. There have been days in our days when I'm depressed, and people say, "Not you," because you look at somebody's personality and you think, "How could they ever get that way?" But I remember a good friend of mine, Zig Ziglar, and a big motivational speaker for years. I mean, crowds there. He said probably some of the loneliest people in the world are motivational speakers because they get alone and away from the crowds and everything. And I've thought about that often. But depression is a real thing.
Very real.
And
issue.
you need to talk about it. As long as, from my understanding of it, the more you keep it down, the more you keep it hidden, the worse it gets. And
to educate people about the support groups and the
Right.
programs that are free and out there, that's crucial.
And I think, again, that's part of what we do here, what we hope we do here, is let people know about the Alzheimer's groups, the depression groups, the different ones, that there is help out there. But again, it goes back to the title of this conference. The ball is in your court. You've got to do something. You've got to make the first move.
All we can do is educate.
Right. We can put it all out there, but then you've got to make the first move to go and do something about it. And that's the topic is Clowns Cry Too, and it's Zach's Hope Suicide Prevention. And Linda Thompson, do you know Linda?
I have not met her. One of the other members on the board knows her and thought she'd be a great presenter.
That's good.
Because that's another issue. It goes along with the depression.
Yes, yeah. Well, I've said I've always been a crier, and I say, you always heard men don't eat quiche. Well, men do cry though.
You don't eat quiche.
Yeah, well, I do some, but that's always been a thing. It's like I said about my father. Our family was not a hugging family. And so if you are not a hugging family, you just don't do it. I had to learn to do that. Now my youngest brother, every time we see each other, we hug, but now we had to learn how to do that, and it was very awkward at first. I got to tell you, it was. Another thing that was awkward was that to saying that I love you. It wasn't hard for me to say it to my wife, but for me to say it to my brother or another man, this was an awkward thing.
Well, that's not something men showed.
Right. I said that all my life, I really can't recall my dad ever telling me that he loved me. But I know that he did by his actions, but he just never verbally said it. So we try to do that now with our kids and with our real close friends, that there is that bonding there with and everything. So I think people need to learn how to make changes in their makeup that help them accept depression or help them accept crying or these different things. And again, through these conferences. My wife tells the best story about the mother of a 9-year-old missed her son. And no, it wasn't 9 or 6 years old. The kid was 6 years old and she missed her son. And so she went looking for him and finally found him on the porch of the next door neighbor. And she said, Johnny, says, what are you doing? He says, I'm over here helping Mr. Brown cry.
Oh.
She said, what do you mean helping Mr. Brown cry? I said, well, his wife died last month, and said he was on the porch crying, so I went over there to sit and help him cry.
No.
And I think it's one of the cutest stories. But it's true, and I know my wife is, and I call her mother's shadow in some of the things that she does. She visits the sick, or if there's a death, she goes. And I remember that one person told her, when this person's mother had died, there was a big crowd there, but Janetta was there and she was just there. And later on she said, Janetta, she says, I so appreciate you just being here. Just being
Just
there.
the support.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
And-
have to say anything.
Right, and all of this is about support. This conference is all about support.
It's
Education
okay
and
to
support.
need support.
Yes, yes, it is. And so we need to understand that. Well, Joni, we've got just a little while left. You want to tell us a little bit about Winston Bennett?
Well, I had asked you, Jim, if you knew who he was, and I couldn't believe you didn't know who he was.
But I don't watch basketball.
He's a former UK player, and I believe in the 80s. And then he played for the NBA, and now he is the coach at Mid-Continent, basketball coach. Great motivational speaker. He brings a lot to the table, and it's just be a good way to close off the conference and keep people fired up and sent out.
Well, I'm sure it'll be exciting. The conferences always are. There's a wealth of information in the conferences, and there's so much. I noticed that part of it is hospice care, and Janelle and I both are hospice volunteers, and so that'll be interesting for a lot of people. There's a misunderstanding about hospice. A lot of people need to understand what the real work of hospice is and how they do things, and so it's so important that they're there. Well, again, it is May 19th at Gospel Mission Worship Center, and we want to encourage you to participate in it. Again, if you need help with the scholarship or anything like that, the number's on the board where you can call and find out about it. Vicki Williams can help you there, and it's 247-7171, and that's the Purchase Area Development District office. Joni, it's been fun again.
It is.
We'll have to do it again, talk about some other things. Joni is one of the well-versed ladies in care and different things in this area, and it's always good to have her on our show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been good to have you with us again today. We encourage you to watch our show every week, and as we always close our shows, we want to remind you to use it or lose it.
Can't see as well as I used to. Can't run as far or as fast. Sometimes I think that the old me is becoming exactly that. But when I start thinking of all I don't have, that's when I tell poor me. Beethoven was 50 and deaf as a post when he wrote his Ninth Symphony. And he'd say, go with what you got. Start from where you are. Give it your best shot. Keep reaching